Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, everybody, to an exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. My name is Ben Tuine. Got my trusty co-host, Jordan Comstock, on the podcast today. What's up, Jordan?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling.
Excellent. We're going to dive right into it. We have the privilege of having a man that needs no introduction. I refer to him as the Howard Stern of dental radio. It's the man, the myth, the legend, and everything else you want to know about this wonderful gentleman, Dr. Mark Costes. Welcome to the program today.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Never been called the Howard Stern of industry before, but I do have, several interesting guests lined up today, including a girl that's sitting here in her bikini waiting to be interviewed by me. It wasn't my idea that she showed up in that outfit, but being the Howard Stern of dentistry, that's what you have. You're talking every day.
I think it's like Howard Stern is like sort of a neutral. When it comes to politics, you have both liberal and conservatives that listen to him.
Oh, for sure,
and,
for sure.
And it's so cool because you are sort of the clean version of that radio show in terms of popularity.
Oh, well, thank you.
But I like your show, like your podcast, and all the stuff that you do. You've had so many guests outside of dentistry, which has been amazing.
I listen to your podcast, Mark, and I'm not a dentist.
I do too.
I appreciate it.
And you had, one of your fitness mentors, which is something that we want to talk about today, Bedros Keuilian.
Yeah. And
I followed a lot of those episodes, and just how everything from he talks about immigrant edge. Me being from American Samoa, that kind of related to me quite a bit. But just his, he talked about a lot of the things that you do now in terms of building your mastermind, and I thought that was kind of cool that, the outside of dentistry that are relevant to what we do as business owners in dentistry, which today, if you don't mind, we wanted to kind of talk about the stress management component of being in dentistry, in this day and age. A year ago, a lot of us just kind of want to erase our memories from last year,
Yeah.
There was a lot of fear. I personally had a lot of fear going. I was like, geez, are we going to lose everything? But then again, I felt a little bit of excitement thinking, well, this is probably a good time to go back home, to Samoa or Hawaii and just live on the beach,
Yeah.
Is that where you went?
I went to Hawaii last month.
Yeah.
My second home where my mom's from.
Yeah.
But Samoa is like, man, it's like an unknown paradise. It's kind of like, the Philippines where your family's from, Dr. Mark. You have so many different islands.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful and tropical. But when you think about just sitting on the beach every day, it's kind of, for me, a little bit of my stress management. Like, what it would be like to go back home and sit on the beach for, a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And let the business go into the tanks. But
yeah, I don't know if I could do it. You're too type A for that, man. You're too type A alpha for that. I think Jordan is too. I would thoroughly enjoy it on the third day. That'd be when I'd start to relax after 2 days, full day of travel. I'd still be super uptight checking emails for 2 days.
Likewise.
I'd be totally relaxed for 2.5 days. And then I'd be gearing back up, ready to go and get back to work.
Yep.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's just, I just embrace that now. It's there's no use in fighting it. But yeah. I definitely, maybe there's something that I could do to prepare myself for a month off. But man, I just thinking about it makes me anxious. Like,
yeah.
Because I'm a control freak. We're all control alphas, right?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Obviously I love going to the beach, Ben. I'm making a trip this year, but yeah, the third day I'm like, okay, I got to get back to the office. I feel like I'm producing value and all that stuff. But I think a big thing in regards to stress management, because I think a part of that, when you go on vacation, you do stress about your business. We're implementing some things here to help me be able to do things like that so that I'm not as stressed. I just brought my brother on, and he's going to be running operations and making sure the ship's, running smoothly, like a well-oiled machine. And that is giving me a peace of mind recently. But I'm like you, Mark. I go on vacation and I'm anxious to get back in the office because I like what I do. It's fun. I'm motivated and driven, but I just can't sit for too long, I guess.
Yeah, it's the life that we live. It's the life that we're used to.
Yeah.
When it comes to stress management, at least with the types of lives that we live, like when I was on vacation 2 weeks ago, the nice thing about Hawaii is it's 4 hours behind us here in Utah, 3 hours behind Arizona. And so I get up at 4 a.m. in Hawaii. I get up. I'm a Mark Costas in Hawaii. I get up at 4 a.m. And I work. I actually open my computer and I start working from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then I go on this nice cool run along the beach for an hour. Come back at night, and then the rest of the day with family. And you know what? So every day, all 5 days of that work week, I worked. I worked at least 4 or 5 hours a day.
Sure.
But I felt fulfilled in the sense that I had the entire day. I was looking at my step count, average for each day, it was 16,000. And, having 16 hours of, pretty intense activity on vacation. When I got home, I was sore, but to me, that was a good stress management trip,
Yes. Yeah.
And
I don't think it depending on your personality, right? Some people would consider that stressful, but to me, if I get all that done and I'm exhausted, and then I can lay on the beach without guilt and feel productive. And
yes,
I don't know if there's something wrong with me. There probably is, but
I wasn't going to say anything.
But I'm with you, Ben. I mean, that sounds like a perfect vacation. I mean, I can't shut it off. So when I go on vacation, I still, like, my internal clock gets me up at 4:30, no matter what we did the night before. My internal clock gets me up at 4:30, and I sneak out of the hotel room. I always have scoped out the gym. If the gym is lame, I run on the beach, or I find something physical to do outside. As long as I have a pull-up bar and somewhere to run, and my running shoes, I know that I could work out anywhere. And I picked that up from Jocko Willink. One time he was talking about how he ended up in Chicago one time, and there was nowhere to work out, so he was walking around in the covered parking lot, in the parking structure. And he was like, oh, thank God there's a pipe that I could do pull-ups on. So he's like, I'm good. As long as I can do pull-ups, I'm good. So there you go. You can bring your bands with you.
I bring my bands with me. I have a bunch of my office. So if I can't get to the gym, I'm doing stuff. And then I have because I think this is good for relieving stress, right? I have a stand-up desk here, and then I got a bike seat.
Oh, cool.
Dude,
I don't know if you can see that. So
I like that. I mean, I'm standing up too. I can't sit at all throughout the day. So I have comfortable shoes, but I stand all day. I'm wearing my Converse right now, but they're not that comfortable. But I don't sit down throughout the day. That's another thing that I can't do.
Me too.
But going back to Ben, going back to your reference of Bedros and the mastermind, he was actually my original business mentor, one of my great friends. And when I had another birthday with a 0 following it several years ago, I had a little bit of a mid-career crisis. And I was a personal trainer for 13 years. I played football in college like you did, Ben, but at a much smaller scale. So I considered myself an athlete. So I developed a fitness product, and I went online to try to find somebody that could help me market it to the masses. Because I thought I was going to have the next P90X for sure. I was going to be the next Tony Horton, and so I developed this thing called Block Fitness, and it was this cool 15 minutes, super intense, like high interval intensity training.
Sure.
And I came across Bedros online and on YouTube, and I just called his office. He was already, back then, many, many years ago, he was huge already in the fitness industry. So I called him and I'm like, hey man, I actually called the office, and even though he was already kind of famous, I was like, yeah, I would like a consultation with Bedros. And, if I have to, I'll fly out there and whatever. They're like, okay, hang on a second. And he's like, hello. And I'm like, is this Bedros? And they like literally handed the phone to him. And we had this, it turned into this great friendship. I joined his mastermind group for gym owners, even though I had a practice. And he pulled me aside one day and he's like, dude, you're a dentist. You know, I'm working with personal trainers and gym owners who would love to have your income and would love to have your area of expertise. He's like, what are you doing hanging out with a bunch of fitness people? I'm like, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. He's like, what else you got going on? And I was like, well, I have this dental assisting school. He's like, hold on. What's the dental assisting school? What is that all about? And I had 16 of them at the time, 16 dental assisting schools. He's like, let's blow this thing up and let's give it a year, see what we could do with this dental assisting school concept. And if you're still interested in promoting fitness after that, I'll be happy to help you launch your product. He's like, but dude, I'm going to tell you, you got a product just like a lot of other people have a fitness product. It's like nearly identical and maybe not even as good. He's like, so let's try this dental assisting school thing. So he took me through and he showed me how to multiply this thing. We ended up at the end of that year, we ended up with 200 locations of the dental assisting school.
Wow.
So we went from 16 to 200. And then he started coaching me on how to open masterminds and how to be a business coach. And that's how I started all of this.
That's cool.
DSI and multiple businesses. And he's still a really good friend. And he started a franchise called Fit Body Boot Camp that has like 2,500 locations now across the planet.
Wow.
And he does pretty well. He does pretty okay for himself. And he still does masterminds, even though his franchise is one of the fastest growing franchises in the world. He still does masterminds, still has mastermind groups, and just an all around really great guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, for me at least, when you're talking about the exercise theme, that's actually been one of my number one stress management activities. So before we hit record, I was talking about, when my stepmother passed away in 2018, I set a goal. I was like, you know what? I'm here in Samoa. I'm overweight and I don't feel good. So I set on a path to really start dropping pounds or really start getting my weight under control. And I lost 50 pounds within 6 months, but then I started to gain some of it back. And then my dad died. And then at that point, I was like, you kind of had a reset in your mind. Like, you know what, I really need to commit to this because I'm not even half my dad's age and I'm starting to feel the effects of being overweight, So I went on this journey, I started, in years past, more 12 years ago or so, I used to run 5 miles a day. And at that time, so this was about 2 years ago, I could barely run for 5 seconds, without feeling pain. So I started walking 5 miles a day. It's like, you know what, I can't run 5 miles a day, so I'm going to walk. And I did that. I did that for 1.5 years straight. And then I started to play around with my dieting a little bit. And then, a little bit over 1 year ago, I was able to start this new sort of lifestyle with how to eat, a lifestyle that I can commit to, that I won't ever go back to the old way of eating that I did before. Mm-hmm. But I noticed that when I did that combination of, eating the right foods, but also applying the right types of activity for your body, I dropped 100 pounds. And I can tell you that was probably the best form of stress management for me at that time. I think it's, it's different for everybody. For me, it was just battling with being overweight, low energy, not being able to feel, not being able to make it to 6 p.m. without, being really, really tired. And that impacts your work, it impacts work, it impacts your home life, and I know in dentistry, there's all kinds of issues in terms of stress that dentists face, And so I shared my story in terms of how I, worked on something major to change to kind of get my stress under control. Mm-hmm. As a dentist, Dr. Mark, what is your advice for dentists in terms of just the basic level of stress management? They get in the office at 7 a.m., sometimes 6, mm-hmm. and they're in there until 5 or 6 p.m., 4 to 5 days a week.
Hunched over.
Yeah.
Yep, hunched over. And that's not easy. A lot of people look at dentists and they think, dentists are so rich, they have it easy. Oh boy, it's not an easy career. It's stressful. And when you're dealing with people a lot, especially people that are unreasonable, that add to that stress, it's one of those careers where it's very fulfilling, but at the same time, if you don't have your stress management under control, it can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
what advice do you have for dentists out there in this regard?
I mean, I could talk about this for hours, there are so many factors that go into making our jobs stressful. And I can say this with full confidence because it took me 3 years to get into dental school. So I had to do lots of different things to survive, to make enough money to pay for the next application cycle. When it's, $150, $200 for every application and you do 21 of them, that adds up.
Yeah, it does.
That adds up, dude, especially when you don't have like a real good source of income. So I have a different perspective than a lot of different dental professionals and other dentists have, because I had to scrap for 3 years and I had lots of different jobs. I was in sales. I was a wine rep for a sales company. I'm sorry, I was a wine rep for a wine company, a sales rep for a wine company. I owned my own business. I owned a taco truck, a catering truck. I worked for a men's formal wear company, like as a glorified, I guess what a suit salesman, I guess you could call me. I was a personal trainer. I taught kickboxing. So I did a lot of things to make ends meet, a lot of not glamorous positions, but I'll tell you, there's nothing that I've done as a person, as a professional, to make money that's more stressful than dentistry. And the reason is not even, it's even super stressful when you don't own the business. Dentistry in general is a very, very stressful profession because we're expected to produce perfect results to people that have unrealistic expectations. They want it to be painless. They don't want any post-operative complications. They want it to be perfect according to their specific aesthetic preferences that you don't even know before you start doing the work. So it's very, very stressful. And then you get into practice ownership, and then you're having to be everything to everybody, right? You're having to be the perfect, most compassionate boss to, 8 to 12 to, in my case, 100 different employees. You're having to be the chief marketing officer, the office manager, the surgeon with micromillimeter precision. There's so many things that go on and so many different plates that we have to spin. And then we have to come home and leave it all at work and are expected to take a shower, get all the spit off of our forehead, and be the all-star dad and husband. And there's nothing more difficult and stressful in the world that I can even imagine. I mean, of course, there's every profession has its stressors, but I'll say that we're right up there.
Sure.
And at least we get the financial rewards that are commensurate with the amount of stress that we're under. So I think it's really, really important that dentists recognize that they are under a lot of stress, whether or not they're using any type of specific coping mechanisms. They have to realize that after a while, it's going to take its toll on you if you don't release it in some form or fashion, right? For me, it's just a really, really solid routine that I lean on. In the morning, I get up, like you said earlier, Ben and Jordan, I get up at 4 to 4:30 every single day. 4:30 is actually sleeping in for me. And and I was saying earlier that it's not because I'm this like hardcore, like super disciplined person. That's just my biology. My body wakes me up between 5:30 and 6 hours in bed, and I can't sleep beyond that, even if I wanted to. So I get up and I try to do something productive. But my morning routine looks like I get up, I have a journal, the For Futures journal, and I open it up and always start with gratitude. Gratitude, like if you sprinkle gratitude on anything, it makes it better, right?
Yep.
It's just like it's like garlic salt. It basically makes every dish that you're cooking taste better.
Every steak is good.
Exactly. Everything. The gratitude is the garlic salt of cooking. But so gratitude makes everything better. Like if you're super stressed, you can't be super stressed and angry and frustrated if you are practicing gratitude every single morning. So it's really, really simple. I open my journal. I start, there's a 1, there's a 2, and a 3. What are you grateful for today? And try not to get into that habit of writing the same things down every day. I'm happy for my parents. I'm happy for my wife. I'm happy for my kids. That doesn't do anything for you because after a while it's just rote and you're not really reflecting. Like this morning, it's like, what am I grateful for today? I had a friend whose son that we grew up with, that grew up with my sons. He tried to commit suicide 2 days ago.
Oh, no.
Thank God they found him, and he's going to be all right, but he's got a long journey ahead of him. But today I was super reflective and grateful for my kids and the fact that they're healthy and they're well adjusted. And, that it was a shock when I heard it, but just having another self-reflective moment to think about him, be grateful that he's going to be all right, and to be grateful that my kids aren't in that situation. That's the one thing that I reflected on today. Am I grateful for lots of other things? Yeah, but today I reflected on that, So gratitude. And then I fill out my 4 Futures journal. I do try to do one thing for mindfulness. I do a 10-minute guided meditation on the Calm app every day. And then I sit in the sauna for a half hour. And that is a lot of self-reflective and meditative time. And then meaning is where we focus on our relationships. I just do 3 things, 3 simple things. I reach out to 3 people that I might have lost touch with. I just text them. I send them out a love bomb with lover, or I send her a little text, or maybe one of the kids. I have a little special conversation with them. Those are all things that I make part of my morning routine. And then the muscle quadrant is my workout. I usually try to get at least 20 to 30 minutes of cardio, enough to make me sweat. And then I go into some resistance training. I usually do just 1 muscle group a day, because I'm lifting 6 days a week, so I can keep it short. And then I go into the sauna. After the sauna, I head out the door. So, if I don't have the opportunity to get through my morning routine, it's almost a crutch at this point. If I don't have the opportunity to get through my morning routine, I'm stressed and I feel off for the entire day. So that's my main coping mechanism. But there are some things that are sprinkled inside this, hour and 15, hour and 20-minute routine that lasts throughout the whole day. Like the meditation and mindfulness helps keep me focused and level-headed all day, right? So they always say, like with meditation, what you're trying to do is increase the amount of time between stimulus and response, so that you can come up with a better response. So if Mrs. Jones is yelling at you because, she thinks that number 8 is a little bit longer than number 9, or she hates the color of her new crown that you cemented in, you have the opportunity to take that stimulus and turn it into something positive, or at least not blow up and get defensive on Mrs. Jones, and just say, I'm going to respond in a different way. That's what meditation for me, and my workout and my routine gives me the opportunity to do, in addition to decreasing my stress.
That's awesome, man. I have so many questions I want to ask in between that, but I know that we have to keep things moving along. But
yeah,
they kind of brought up a point in my mind about, when we deal with dentists, we know dentistry is very high, filled with all kinds of stress. We don't have good ways to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of other professions that experience the same level of stress, and customer service. When we're dealing with any job where you're dealing with human beings, the stress level can be very, very high for the same reasons that you mentioned. A lot of people are just unreasonable. And I got to thinking as you're talking, it's like, have I been too hard on the vendors that I work with? Have I contributed towards their stress? And it brought a thought to my mind when my wife, she got a bunch of fillings done with a local friend, a local dentist here in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually happened to run into him at the American Fork Walmart, Jordan, 2-3 years ago. And my wife had already complained to me. She said, after I got this filling, my tooth cracked. I can see it visibly cracked. I'm like, okay, we'll go and get it fixed. But I think the very next day we ran into him, the dentist that did her fillings in the parking lot. And I was like, I hope my wife doesn't bring this up. Like, I know dentistry is so stressful. And the last thing people want to do when they're outside of work, when they're with their families, is talk about work,
Yeah.
And my wife is so cool and so chill. And anyway, this dentist said, hey, when are we going to see you again? We miss you guys at the office. And my wife said, actually, we'll give you a call soon. There's something I need to get fixed. And he's like, oh, what is it? So he opened the door.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, no, not now. Like, you're with your family. We'll deal with it later. But he kept prying. He's like, no, tell me what it is. And that way I can be prepared. And She's like,
Sure.
oh, well, fine. You know,
Oh,
it's like- yeah. And I was like, oh, darn it. You know,
here it
I was
comes.
hoping, I know. And she was so cool about it. She's like, you know what? It just, no big deal. But one of the fillings, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it even caused the tooth to crack or if it was just coincidence, but my tooth cracked. And so he said, open your mouth. Let me take a look at it in the parking
Oh
lot.
my gosh.
And of course,
Oh my
she
gosh.
opens up wide and he looks in and he's like, come in, I'll take care of it for free, no problem. But you know, in my mind and heart, I'm thinking, this poor guy, you know, if I were in a situation, but that's just him, you know, he really cares about his patients, you know, and I don't know if that caused stress, but it did for me listening. Because I'm like, you know, I don't know what he's going through, but I hope we didn't add any level of stress to him during that day. So I guess, you know, my response is finding your stress management a must. But what can we do to help others, you know, because we're human beings. We're dealing with others that could be experiencing the same type of stress level, whether it be, you know, the vendors that you're working with. And I say this with caution. Well, I don't know how I want to say this, but you know, the insurance people that we try to fight every day,
Yeah.
you know, they're human beings too. And what I found is that sometimes when you deal a little bit more compassionately, when you're negotiating a claim denial or a fee schedule, and oftentimes you don't know what those people are dealing with as well. So I've seen, at least my approach is to be kind, you know. And I love your gratitude starting the day with that, because I do a little bit of that, but not to the extent that you do it. But I probably need to do it more, because I'm thinking when I start my day with that and I'm dealing with tough situations throughout the day, you know, I can have a better perspective of, you know, what my mission is for that day in terms of how I'm going to respond. Am I going to be a jerk, or am I going to be kind, you know, and negotiate diplomatically with people in a way that hopefully will give a better response, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
So-
love that.
I have a thought. I was just thinking, you mentioned, I think, customer service. I don't know who was it. Was it you, Mark, or you, Ben? So we obviously have a customer service team here. They deal with issues and problems, you know, and it can be really stressful if you let it, right, with people calling in, you know. And one thing that we've done here, or starting to do here at Boom Cloud, is to teach our customer service reps humor, because I think humor definitely is a stress reliever. I like joking around. I like playing, you know, and having fun. And we're starting to see, we had a meeting yesterday, and one of our customers success representatives, you know, has taken humor courses, and she's pretty funny. And
That's awesome.
somebody mentioned a stressful comment, and she cracked a joke. I mean, she's not a, you know, stand-up comedian, but just cracked a simple joke, and it broke the ice really well within the team. But also when I'm hearing people on the phones dealing with those stress, immediately they're, you know, when they answer the phone, they try to say something funny to make somebody's day better and get a laugh out and kind of change the you know,
The energy.
the
Yeah.
energy on that call, right? And I think humor is another thing that I use to cope with stress. My twin brother's here in the office, and he's super funny. We get laughing about lots of things that we're going through, you know, as twin brothers and as people that are operating a business. But I think that's something that we use here, and we're getting better at. We're training our team on humor. Not, you know, we're not wanting them to be stand-up comedians at all, but we do realize that there is power in regards with humor in regards to relieving stress and making people happy, right? And I think and really being memorable as a customer support person, you know, that's kind of how at least we're approaching it here. In regards to that aspect of our own business, but every business has customer service and customer, or whatever you want to call it, patient service. I don't know, customer service. You know, and I think, you know, dealing with a lot of difficult patients. I mean, I know how that goes. I manage my dad's dental lab, and we had patients come to us all the time that were maybe struggling with a case that we were helping a practice work
Oh,
with.
and doctors dentists can be extremely unreasonable when they're dealing. I'm the first to raise my hand and say that I've been not so nice to lab techs in the past. So
Sure.
yeah, it's true. Past Mark probably wasn't the nicest to a lot of his pre morning routine. Mark probably wasn't the nicest guy.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of stories on that too, but we won't go into details.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, I know.
So we talked a lot about sort of the coping, the stress, it's there and how to cope with it.
Yep.
You have a few more minutes. I know your time's very valid, but I just have one
No,
more.
I have lots of minutes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
As many minutes as you guys need.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So this whole idea, a couple of weeks ago, I was reading through one of the Facebook pages, the dentistry Facebook page. I can't remember if it was yours or if it was Dental Nachos, but it was a dentist that was going to give up his career. He's like, I'm done. I'm done with dentistry. I'm going to go back to my old career of sales because I found that it's less stressful and I can probably make a lot more money there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And, in my mind, I'm, reading the comments where a lot of the dentists were trying to give him encouragement saying, don't give up now. You spent probably $300,000-$400,000 on a to get a dental license just to get through school. And now you're just going to give it away because maybe, who knows why, but, and anyway, I was thinking about that a little bit, thinking, what led to this decision was probably just the stressful nature of dentistry.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, even me, I get some stressful, maybe one or two situations a year that really, really keep me up at night.
Yeah.
And I forget the beauty of this career. I forget the positives of why I do what I do, which is the majority of what I feel when I'm at work,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, Dr. Mark, what are some of the positive things that we need to remember as it pertains to the careers that we have in dentistry, particularly for the dentists that usually bear the burden of stress in their practices?
Yeah, I love this question because it comes up a lot and I deal with it a lot. I have the privilege of being able to work with, a couple hundred really, really high level dentists and inside DSN, there's over 1,000 of them,
Mm-hmm.
And so I have this unique perspective where I get to talk to people that are just lit on fire by the profession and they're killing it. And, they're about to open their 6th practice. And as far as, they report to us, their teams are awesome and they're on fire too. And it's just an energy that they have. Right. And then there's people like I was 10 years into my career that are totally burnt out, wish that they would have done anything else like besides dentistry and are looking for a way out. And they feel trapped because they have $400,000 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're married and they have 2 car payments, 3 kids and a mortgage, right? So they feel like this is a good living. I can't make this much money doing anything else. And if I could make this much money doing anything else, it would take 4 or 5 years for me to get to the level that I'm at right now as far as compensation, right? I always go back to a reminder of why you got into the profession for the first place, right? In the first place. A lot of people got into dentistry, and especially nowadays are getting into dentistry because they look on US News and World Reports and we're 1, 2, and 3 as far as the best professions to enter simply because of the amount of money that we make as dentists, right? But try to go back and remember why it is that you got into dentistry in the first place. Another reminder is remember the first time when you fixed, Mrs. Jones's or Mrs. Smith's or, Mr. Fredrickson's, 4 front teeth and the reaction that you got. And when it brought tears to their eyes and you couldn't help but get tears in your eyes as well, because of what you were able to do with this lifelong issue that they had with their smile, when they were hiding their smile their whole life, you were able to fix that. We have the ability to do that, right? And if that doesn't get you, all you got to do, guys, I'm telling you, this is easy. All you got to do is give more of it away. Give it away. I know that sounds counterintuitive. That sounds like even more work. Have a free dental day at your office. Have people come that can't afford certain procedures, come into the office, have a little bit of a screening process, make sure they're not addicted to drugs or make sure that, they're people that you want to be around, and do the dentistry for free with nothing expected in return other than to help them out. The more you give away, that is the number one antidote to burnout, is doing more for free. And after you get a taste of that, go on a mission trip. I have one coming up. We had this really awesome tradition in Prescott, Arizona. We have one of the best 4th of July parades in the country. So 4th of July is a really big deal for us. But a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, I decided to give up the 4th of July tradition that we had. And I brought my then 13-year-old son with me to the Dominican Republic. And we spent 10 days doing missionary dentistry. And now we haven't hit, a 4th of July parade in our town, because every year we go back for the same mission trip. And he's 17 now, and he's coming with me for the last year because he's going to be in college next year. It's so special. Like, I always feel when I'm on the plane from the way home, last year, my division, I'm the pros division there. We had myself and one prosthodontist and 3 dental students, and we did $175,000 worth of dentistry in 5 days.
Wow.
And that means full dentures, partials, extractions. And when you put a denture in somebody's mouth that could never afford this in a million years, they don't even own shoes. You put a denture in somebody's mouth for the first time, they don't even know how to smile because they haven't had teeth for 30 years. And you have to lift up their lips and say, this is how you smile. And then you hand them a mirror. They don't look at themselves in the mirror, but you hand them a mirror and you show them how to smile. I can't tell you how many times they just break down in tears and give you a big hug. If that doesn't cure your burnout or your dislike for the profession, then you are a cyborg and you need to go do anything else besides dentistry, because that cures everything. What we have been trained to do with our hands, when I get back from a mission trip and I'm sitting on that plane, I think to myself, I got so much more out of this than the amount than what I gave. Like, I feel guilty. Like, they gave me so much more than I was able to give them. And if that doesn't cure whatever it is that you're feeling unhappy about as far as dentistry, then nothing will.
Wow.
That will right your ship almost immediately.
I never even thought about that. That is such wonderful advice. Thinking about just volunteerism is in general. I served a mission for my church for 2 years and paid my own way to serve a mission.
Wow.
And I spent the majority of my time doing exactly what you said.
Yep.
You're serving, you're volunteering to help people that are in need. We did everything from clearing fields to building houses to, we didn't do, of course, 19-year-old, we were non-skilled. So we're just more hard labor type of young adults.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you that even leading up till today, the service aspect of my life outside of my career, when I'm helping people and they respond with a level of gratitude, I always feel exactly what you said. I got more out of this than what they did from the work that I helped them with,
Sure.
And I never thought about this angle in terms of, feeling, going back to your roots in terms of feeling a sense of I am in a great profession.
Mm-hmm.
Is just remembering what, the good that you do and then continue doing that type of good. I can tell you from firsthand experience that what you said is just solid bulletproof advice.
Yeah.
Because it brought back so many positive, fond memories of times when I would do service for others and just feel a sense of gratitude in terms of knowing that the skill set that I have, and for me, it's not that much, but still giving that part of your time and volunteering is so fulfilling and rewarding. So thank you. That was beautiful. I think we can end it there and call this $1 million podcast or episode, I should say. Our podcast is nothing compared to yours. This episode has been amazing.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy too, because going back to this just briefly, I know you guys want to wrap, but just going back to this briefly, these people are so grateful. They don't have anything, right? We've had people that have ridden in the back of tomato trucks for 3 days just to get a tooth extracted because there was so much pain, and people that walk with no shoes for 3 hours or 4 hours or a half a day just to see if they could get lucky enough to get some free dental work. And they don't have anything, they don't even have doors on their, on their cement homes or their stick built homes. And say they have like an avocado tree in their yard. they'll
Mhm.
take every avocado off their tree and they'll bring it as payment or gratitude.
Wow.
We had this one lady, I'm a vegan, so I don't eat animal products, but we had this one lady who I did a denture for. She went home 2 hours, slaughtered the only chicken they had,
Mhm.
and brought it back in this pot for me as thank you. And I was, I was so grateful, and she's crying and she hands me this chicken, it's prepared, like lovingly prepared. And it's like, there's no way that you could get that much gratitude if you weren't making a difference. Right. It's priceless.
This
awesome.
I'm going to comment a little bit here too. So sorry, Ben, I know you were
No, you're good.
wrapping up.
You're good.
But so my dad does the same thing with Dental Lab, right? He'll help people get free work when they need it. Primarily, so my dad served his mission for the church in the Philippines. So he knows the Philippines really well, and there's a network.
Probably speaks the language, and I don't.
He speaks a little bit of it, mostly the swear words now.
Isn't that always how it works?
That's how it works. Yep. I mean, I speak Brazilian Portuguese, and I just say all the swear words now. So, but the cool thing is he would always do that, especially there's a Filipino group here, at least in Salt Lake City, in Utah, where
we're everywhere, man. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
We're like
we're
like a virus.
Okay.
The best people.
So my dad gives free work to these Filipinos that always come in that are maybe they just moved to Utah or whatever, and he's gotten a name for himself. They all come and see him, and he always gives free work away to his Filipino buddies, right?
That's cool.
Because he served those people, and he loves that culture, and they always bring us amazing Filipino food.
Adobo,
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
it's good. I like it, but I couldn't agree with you more, Mark. I think that is definitely a way to get out of stress and burnout in any type of business. We'll try to do things here at Boom Cloud as well to help us, mainly me, because it feels like I'm the one that gets in the burnouts the most, and I think that's just a good reminder for me to remember to help other people, as we move along our lives and manage our businesses. So, all right, let's shift gears. We'll end it a little bit here. Mark, you got a conference coming up.
Oh yeah, we do.
Talk about that a little bit, and then we'll give people a way to register for that if you're still registering for it, or you've sold out. I don't know.
No, we're about to sell out. I think we have less than 50 tickets left. Last year we had about 875 tickets sold to the Dental Success Summit at the JW Marriott. And sadly we had to cancel that event. So this year they're limiting our attendance. We can only have about 450 people this year, but we have Peyton Manning as our keynote speaker. NFL legend Peyton Manning will be there.
Super cool.
Well, he'll be there virtually, piping in virtually. I'll be interviewing him virtually in front of the audience. And our 13 black belt speakers, our 13 black belt coaches will all be there speaking about a different topic on stage. It's just, I think it's one of the most fun conferences of the year. Super high energy, super positive people, and tactical advice, not fluffy, like here's why you should have a system, fluffy stuff like that. Like, here is a system. Go plug this in literally to your office on Monday morning. So that's what you can expect. TrueDentalSuccess.com. It's May 28th and 29th. And a lot of people are coming because they're turning it into a family holiday, because that is Memorial Day weekend. And you can just kind of be there for that 3-day weekend in a beautiful, beautiful resort, perfect weather, and lazy river, all the good stuff.
Oh
there.
Yeah, I will be there. So I'm pretty pumped for the event. I've missed events a lot.
Yeah,
so I'm excited. I'm excited,
too.
Man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys. Thank you for representing, man.
Yeah.
No,
so TrueDentalSuccess.com, correct?
Yep, TrueDentalSuccess.com, and just click on the registration tab for the Dental Success Summit, and it'll get you in.
Cool.
Yeah.
So go there, check it out, register before it's too late, I would say.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're personal witnesses. That's probably the best conference that I've ever been to. And I'm sad that I missed it for the last couple of years because I've had other commitments come up. But go to this conference. And then in terms of the missions that you do, can people find out more with, I'm sure with the Dental Success Institute and the DSN? So if you're interested in those missions, I mean, Dr. Mark has some of the best collaborative groups in dentistry, in my opinion. Check out his websites for DSN as well as the DSI, Dental Success Institute.
I would like to do one of those missions, but I can probably do some lab stuff. I don't know if you guys need lab dudes.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
I mean, I might be rusty at it, but I bet you I can. It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, especially the one to the DR, because we have a full pros team that we take with us. So anytime,
Really?
man.
Yeah,
Anytime.
that'd be cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dr. Mark, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We feel fortunate and lucky that you would be willing to come on our podcast again. And gosh, we just wish you the very best. And thank you so much for the wonderful advice you gave us today.
Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate the invitation. It's great to see you, Ben, even though there's less of you to see. It's great to see you again. And Jordan, as always, man, it's a true pleasure to be friends with you guys.
Likewise,
Mark. Okay, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Mark.
Rock
Take
on.
care, everybody.
Rock on.